everyone, if you are a fan of the book Verity, then this video is for you. I've put together a list of 6 book recommendations that I'm pretty confident you will like if you enjoyed Verity. Before we get to the list, my quick thoughts on Verity. Now, I devoured this book. I read it in like 2 days, maybe even 1 day. Couldn't put it down, total page turner. Do I think it's a literary work of art? No, but I thought it was a great dark romance thriller, so I liked it. I've also found that Verity is great for getting people back into reading. I've had so many friends come to me and they haven't read a book in years and they say, all right, Nicole, I want to get back into reading. I need something that'll hold my attention. What do you recommend? And I swear every time I recommend Verity, they love it. It gets them hooked, and then I can recommend other books. So Verity is a great gateway drug back into reading. Now let's get to the list. So you read Verity, you loved it. Now you're looking for something with a similar vibe. I've got you covered. We're going to start with a couple books that I think are sort of on the same level as Verity when it comes to quality, in that they are total page turners. They will hold your attention. I read them in just a couple days, but you know, maybe not necessarily literary works of art, shall we say. First book I'm going to recommend if you liked Verity is The Perfect Marriage. Now, this one grabbed my attention right from the start. I was totally in it. Similar to Verity, it's a domestic thriller, got a little bit of spice in there. Now, my one complaint about The Perfect Marriage, though, is that I hated the ending. And I felt like the ending was sort of phoned in and that it cheapened the whole rest of the book. But ending aside, I mean, it was a very fun ride to get up to that ending. So if you liked Verity, I would say your next stop should be The Perfect Marriage. Next recommendation, if you liked Verity, is going to be The Housemaid. Similar to Verity, it's a domestic thriller. It's got a bit of a psychological twist to it. But if the reason you liked Verity is because of the spicy scenes, then I will just tell you right off the bat, this book is not going to scratch that itch. The Housemaid was a total page turner. The writing wasn't that great, though. And if you are someone who reads a bunch of thrillers, you're going to recognize this plot. In fact, if you have already read The Last Mrs. Parrish, you can skip The Housemaid. It's the exact same thing. Clearly, it wasn't my absolute favorite book, but still a total page turner. I finished it in like 2 days. The next book I'm going to recommend is, in my opinion, a little step up in quality when it comes to the writing. So if you liked Verity, next recommendation, The Hunting Wives. I don't think it gets any more salacious than this book. Wow. It's one of those books where the character's decision-making is going to drive you insane. Like, it infuriated me. Half the characters I couldn't stand, but at the same time, I devoured it. I couldn't put it down. Without spoiling anything, a new mom meets a new group of friends. This new group of friends doesn't exactly have the highest moral values. And then in the second half of the book, it kind of becomes a bit of a thriller. It's juicy, it is spicy at times, it is so inappropriate. It'll infuriate you, but you won't be able to put it down. Definitely recommend if you like Verity. Next book I'm going to recommend if you like Verity is Gone Girl. Now, another super popular one, so chances you already read it years ago when it came out or when the movie was popular. But if you have not read Gone Girl, add that to your list. Now, when comparing authors, I don't really think there is a comparison because Gillian Flynn is she's such an incredible writer of thrillers and building depth and these complicated characters. I love her, if you can't tell. So I wouldn't say this recommendation works in the other direction. If you liked Gone Girl, you don't necessarily need to read Verity, but still, Gone Girl is another domestic thriller with a great twist. I think you'll love it. Now, this next recommendation is a little bit of a change in vibe. We're veering a little away from Verity, but similar in the way that it's such a compulsive read. Right from the start, you're hooked and you just keep turning those pages till the end. And that is The Push. So this is more of a psychological thriller. New mom thinks something might be off with her daughter, but the whole book, you don't know whose perception of events is correct, and you don't find out until the very end. So it really keeps you turning those pages. Now, similar to The Housemaid, I will just note that if you liked Verity because of the spicy scenes, this one is not going to scratch that itch. But similar to Verity, it is such a page turner. The writing is great. I loved The Push. Definitely recommend this one. Now, I cannot possibly conclude this list without including the grandmother of domestic thrillers. If you liked Verity, I would consider reading Rebecca. Now, this was written about 100 years ago, so it is a period piece, and I would say the start of it is a bit of a slog. It is slow, but it's worth it. The book does an amazing job of creating this eerie, claustrophobic setting. It's one of those books where the setting, in this case, the manor that they live in, Manderley, it really is a character in itself. So many domestic thrillers today, not just Verity, are reminiscent in one way or the other of Rebecca. So if you are willing to give an older book a try, I would absolutely recommend it. So there you have it. If you liked Verity, I think any of the books I mentioned in this video would be a great choice for you to read next. If you have read them, let me know what you think in the comments, or if you have another book that I didn't include in this video that you think would be perfect for people who loved Verity, leave that in the comments below as well. I will see you next week.